The main goal of Beyond Your Backyard Adventures is for me to find a place that I can explore almost every day, because I feel like the frequency with which I visit a location is directly correlated with the number of opportunities I'll get to photograph wildlife. The better I get to know a habitat, the more likely it is that I'll be able to find something amazing. I chose this location not only because of the diversity of its habitats, but because of its proximity to the city. It's only about 10 minutes away from the city, which means that anyone can come out here to explore and find out what nature has to offer. So let me show you what I've found so far. One of the main reasons that I love this area so much is because of this transition from a hardwood forest to an evergreen forest. At one point, the forest floor is covered with this green undergrowth and this club moss, or the ground cedar. And all of a sudden it just changes to pine needles, where there's not much undergrowth at all. The east side of the swamp especially is my favorite, because it really reminds me of my swamp when I was growing up. Because of the stark difference of the pine forest and then the edges of the swamp. Now I'm back on the Beaver Swamp, which is only about 1.5 miles from the location that I filmed the Kingfisher, the reservoir swamp. And it turns out that the stream the beaver used to make this swamp actually does feed into the stream that was used to create the reservoir. Right over here is where I got my first glimpse of the beaver. Though only briefly. But I quickly realized that there was actually someone else watching me. Not realizing what I was, she started to stomp her foot and snort, either as a warning to me or to try to warn her friends of my presence. I was sitting on a log and I moved just a little bit because I was afraid I was going to shake the camera. But then she saw me for what I was and bolted. I waited for quite a while to see if the beaver re-emerged, when I heard a kingfisher and saw it fly overhead to a different part of the swamp. So I gathered my things and quickly headed in that direction. She landed briefly before moving on, but never dove. Perhaps the fishing isn't too great here. The water can be pretty muddy. And even as I say this, I've heard a kingfisher a few times already. But in my haste to get a look at the kingfisher, I disturbed another resident of these waterways. And I scrambled to get some semblance of a shot before it disappeared into the grass. But I'm afraid I only caught a short glimpse of an otter. I never saw it again that day, but I knew then that I would have to come here more often and hope to see it again. Stay tuned and see what we find next beyond your backyard.